Alright, welcome back again. So we have officially completed the entire 8-week process. And boy oh boy was this the best cut I have ever been on so far. This was only 8 weeks, so this is pretty much the shortest one I've had to do, but also the most success I've had in such a short period of time. Again, thanks to, I think, just pushing myself that extra little bit to lose a bit more than I'd otherwise have hoped for. And it just brings up an interesting thing because you consider realism and all that, and setting realistic goals. But funny enough, I've used that kind of rationale in the past to just be like, okay, I shouldn't expect to lose too much. I'll just stick to this realistic number. But this time around, we pushed ourselves a little more, and guess what? We annihilated the goal. So I just want to reflect a bit upon this 8-week cut and talk about what is going to be next. But before I do all of that, I want to just go back to our handy dandy little whiteboard here and go over any changes we had to make going into the end of this cut. So last time at the end of week 4, we were at 5 times 35 minutes of cardio and morning fasted. It was up to 45 minutes. So we were doing 45 minutes fasted in the mornings or post-workout if I couldn't do it first thing in the morning. So week 4 was 35 minutes, then we went to 40 minutes for 2 weeks, and then 45 minutes. Nothing too crazy, it was more than doable. It got a little hard some days to push it because, recovery begins to kind of take a hit. I wasn't doing really any refeeds or cheat days during these 8 weeks. So walking, we started this at 12K steps per day. Then we went to 14K, 16K, and then the last 2 weeks we did 18,000 steps per day. I'll be honest, we did not hit that target every single day. We still sort of fell short to like 16,000, few select days, even less if the weather was really bad or something like that, or I, procrastinated too much during the day. I really underestimated just how much walking that actually is. Because I think, if I remember correctly, 10,000 steps is anywhere from 1 hour to 75 minutes worth of walking. So if you consider 18,000, you're doing close to 2 hours plus of walking per day. So that can be a little tricky if you don't make the time for it. But that doesn't matter. We still hit our target, so that's what was important. The challenge was fun nonetheless. We learn little things like this, like I need to plan more time for walking if I want to hit bigger targets like this. And finally, the macros. We never once had to drop these, which I'm so happy about, because if you have to drop any more than this, especially with what I have here, you're not going to have a very fun time trying a lot of protein, and then your carbs get really low, and then your fats might even get very low, but you have to kind of strategize there. Do you want to do less carbs or more fats, vice versa, and potentially suffer for it, which you will regardless. So you pick your battles. Anyway, that brings me to what do we do from here? I will admit it's been almost 2 weeks since the end of the 8 weeks, because if you remember the first video, I said I was going to get my wisdom teeth removed, and that pretty much took me out of the gym for about 10 days. So it's like I'm just starting again. I didn't gain any weight, I didn't lose anything. I kind of just stagnated because, what do you expect? Being sedentary, you're not really burning a lot of calories. I was eating like 2,000 calories a day during that whole week. I had to do liquids, but we can get into that at another video. So I am going on a trip to New York City at the end of May. So that got me thinking that I want to continue pushing this cut. At this point, it's going to be 3 more weeks that I can push. We'll count last week just as, we kept going. Like, I didn't fall off. Sure, I didn't train, but, I was still technically dieting. I could have not dieted, but I did in a way, at least. But we're going to keep pushing another 3 weeks. I did have some refeeds, that's for sure. I did have some refeeds. I took a weekend off, kind of had a nice cheat day, especially because I couldn't chew anything for a week, so that was a nice break from that, but again, I gained nothing. If anything, I looked a little bit fuller, and then now I'm just looking a little flatter again because I've gone back into a deficit. And my plan, we are going to continue cutting another 3 weeks, and I'm going to do a rundown of exactly what we're gonna do in the next video right after this. Anyways, thanks for watching. Give it a like, comment something, share this. Hopefully you'll learn something from this, and I'll see you guys next time.